She truly seems convinced that this woman is genuinely suffering. Picture a 40-year-old who climbed from nothing to everything by marrying the producer who launched her career on his show, then leaving him behind and latching onto a prince who's apparently too naive to notice what the rest of the planet has already figured out. We're talking January 2026 right now. Meghan Markle has teamed up with Soho House to launch her as Everbrand. On Instagram, she's sharing posts about these heartfelt, full-circle experiences, reminiscing about how the club served as her safe haven long before she stepped into royal life. It all comes across as warm and reflective, but there's a side to the story she's carefully avoiding. Conservative voice Candace Owens has just unleashed something massive. Rumors are flying across various outlets that Candace has acquired some seriously damaging material. Soho House membership records. These supposed documents reveal the true nature of Meghan's ties to the club back in her pre-royal days. Insiders are saying the records include a specific tally: 89 men, all prominent figures loaded with wealth, influence, and powerful networks. Meghan's name keeps showing up in these entries, described by those in the know not as an ordinary member casually mingling, but as a designated V companion. Not someone just networking in passing, a person deliberately matched with these elite figures for very particular purposes. Once you grasp what that circle really meant, those nostalgic Instagram reflections take on a completely different shade. Word is that Candace brought this up during a live segment recently, and Meghan's team flipped into full damage control panic right away. Complete quiet. Zero pushback, no legal threats, no public responses, just dead air as the claims started circulating everywhere. So hold on, because if these records turn out to be legitimate, the whole foundation Meghan has constructed for her public persona falls apart instantly. The genuine Duchess transforms into someone who navigated high society networks in ways she never admitted openly. And it looks like Candace Owens could be the one holding the actual evidence. He gets a shot at rescuing her. That's the honest reality, and it's proven effective so far. She's put on this convincing act for Harry, where she plays the part of someone lost, saying things like she has no idea how she landed in this mess, that she simply adores him and feels like a stand-in for his mother. It ties straight into that one moment he had to protect his mom again, the way he tells the story. Let me give you some background on Candace Owens and her history with Meghan, because this isn't fresh ground for her. For years now, Candace has ranked among Meghan's sharpest and loudest detractors. She's described her as calculating, not genuine, the type who exploits relationships to move up. Back in 2019, after that Africa tour documentary aired, Candace straight up labeled Meghan a witch on Twitter. Then in January 2025, when Meghan and Harry appeared at the LA wildfire relief area, Candace spoke to Newsweek and echoed what a lot of people were feeling. She called them phony opportunists chasing attention. Those were her precise terms. No sugarcoating, no diplomacy, just blunt takedowns. Candace is also charged that Meghan plays mind games with Harry, convincing him she's somehow a reborn version of Princess Diana. She claims Meghan taps into Harry's deep pain from losing his mother as a way to keep him under her influence. That's the kind of heavy psychological manipulation she's accusing her of. Meghan comes from an acting background. What she does involves carefully observing and analyzing people. She's not particularly talented on screen, but she's professionally trained and has spent her whole life honing that skill. There's zero question she spent time studying Princess Diana closely, her gestures, especially how she would hold Harry's face when he was young. That's where the more disturbing, almost sociopathic side of her behavior shows up, placing a positive pregnancy test beside Diana's hair, claiming she touched the grave to have a personal chat with her, breaking down in tears over it. So when reports started emerging around September 2025 that Candace had revealed Meghan's troubling Soho House history on her show, it lined up perfectly with Candace's usual approach. This isn't someone who messes around. She digs deep, gathers facts, And when she believes she has solid ground, she puts it all out there without hesitation. Now people close to the situation are saying Candace went beyond talk. She actually secured real paperwork, those Soho House membership documents that lay out the actual dynamic of Meghan's involvement with the club. And if those documents are genuine and match what's being described, Meghan faces a serious crisis. To really get why these supposed records carry so much weight, you have to understand what Soho House actually is. It's far from your typical hangout spot. This is a highly restricted members-only organization built for top-tier connections among rich, influential, and creative types. Getting in is incredibly tough. Even big names like Kim Kardashian and Kobe Bryant were turned away. The guy who started it, Nick Jones, has openly said they avoid handing memberships to anyone likely to attract photographers or media attention. So how exactly did Meghan, a working actress pulling in about $50,000 per episode on Suits, manage to break into that rarefied world? After she wrapped up Deal or No Deal, she landed a part on 9200 where her character was shown performing oral sex on a guy in a car. That kind of role. Here's the key piece that makes things even more intriguing. For a long time, Meghan's closest ally has been Marcus Anderson. And Marcus isn't an average Soho House member. He holds the position of Global Membership Director. That means he's the one who ultimately approves or denies entry. He literally controls who gets inside one of the planet's most guarded networking hubs. Marcus first crossed paths with Meghan in Toronto while she was filming Suits. Their bond grew extremely tight. Photos of them together go back years. He attended her royal wedding, showed up at her New York baby shower, and more recently joined her and Harry at Disneyland to celebrate Lilibet's birthday. His role includes putting together guest lists for massive celebrity events, Oscar after parties, ultra-private gatherings. He sets up meetings between high net worth members and whoever they want to connect with. That's his day-to-day job. The next big sighting of Marcus comes when he's seated right beside Meghan at the Invictus Games opening ceremony. Looking back at that video now, it's striking how much Prince Harry appears to have fallen in status. When Meghan suddenly found herself inside Soho House's upper echelons, far beyond what her cable TV career justified, it was Marcus who made it possible. He unlocked the doors, made the introductions, brought her into spaces she hadn't earned through her professional standing at the time. Now the story turns truly explosive. According to circulating accounts, the documents Candace supposedly has include a detailed roster of 89 men, all prominent Soho House figures, successful business owners, media higher-ups, finance heavyweights, individuals with real money and reach. What's being said is that Meghan's name links to these men repeatedly, not in the sense of a regular member chatting casually, but as a VP companion, someone deliberately set up to spend time with them at meals, functions, intimate get-togethers, the sort of high-level networking that carries unspoken expectations about what gets exchanged for that kind of entry, as you'd expect. And Meghan doesn't appear to grasp that, especially now that places like Spotify, Netflix, and others are walking away from her. Where does someone go after that? What identity do you rebuild? That's partly why so many see the marriage as going through a rough stretch right now. I need to choose my words very carefully here, because YouTube doesn't mess around with guidelines. I'm not claiming any criminal activity took place. What I'm pointing out is that places like Soho House have long functioned through informal systems where attractive, charismatic individuals get introduced to affluent members for shared advantages. The affluent get pleasant company and polish at their gatherings. The individuals providing that get doors opened, relationships built, chances they wouldn't have on their own. This isn't some modern invention. It's how privileged social worlds have worked for ages. The real question is whether Meghan participated in those setups and whether paperwork exists to confirm it. The fact that Epstein's full circle was never thoroughly examined or brought to justice means certain powerful figures, who may have harmed kids and faced blackmail still hold important positions. There's still far too much blind faith in official systems, in my view. That number, 89 men, is oddly precise. It's not a rough figure or a ballpark guess. When someone throws out an exact count like that, it implies somebody actually reviewed records and added them up. Someone combed through paperwork and noted how many separate, high-profile members were tied to Meghan in her Soho House period. And if Candace possesses those records, if she's reviewed that material, it explains why Meghan has gone completely quiet. Admitting or denying anything risks Candace dropping the proof. I really struggle to get why some people believe doubling down on victimhood is appealing these days. It feels outdated and worn out. Nobody's interested in hearing about how hard life is when you're a princess. It just rings hollow. Let me tie this back to Marcus Anderson, because his involvement is central to all of this. In his role as Global Membership Director, Marcus doesn't merely gatekeep entry to Soho House. He oversees the whole member journey, setting up connections, arranging meetings, ensuring people get the premium value they're paying top dollar for. What sets Marcus apart in the long list of people who've come and gone from Meghan's circle is that he's irreplaceable. I aim to show you in this discussion that without Marcus Anderson's help, Meghan Markle likely wouldn't have reached the level of worldwide recognition she has. Royal biographer Katie Nicholl has stated that when Prince Harry expressed interest in meeting Meghan, he turned to Marcus to organize it. Marcus set up a low-key gathering in a private Soho House space with maybe 7 or 8 others, ideal for a natural, relaxed introduction. Consider the implications there. A royal prince wants to connect with a woman, and he routes it through the Soho House connection expert. That's exactly what Marcus does. He acts as a high-end matchmaker and network builder for the privileged set. During Meghan's time in Toronto on Suits, when Marcus pulled her into those elite Soho House groups, and she suddenly had entry to men far wealthier and more connected than her own position allowed, what was the precise nature of that setup, and how does that square with the polished public story we always hear about her? Harry apparently prefers privacy these days, no cameras, no social media posts, just quiet time. Those familiar with how these exclusive networks function know precisely what that hints at. Attractive, engaging women are invited into these upper circles because they enrich the atmosphere. They make occasions more lively. They offer companionship to affluent men seeking smart, appealing company. If the alleged records indicate Meghan was part of that system, facilitated by Marcus, then it's not simply a close friendship. It's a mutually beneficial professional dynamic. The timing here drives me up the wall. In November 2025, only months after Candace supposedly revealed Meghan's troubling Soho House background, Meghan publicly announces a big collaboration with Soho House for her as ever brands pop up at Soho Home in West Hollywood. She shares Instagram content about full circle experiences, describing how her 4-year-old daughter pulls out all the jams during pretend play, spreads them on the table, while she uses play money to buy them. Meghan engages in that kind of imaginative play, but she's linking it back to Marcus in her mind. Consider that angle. If documentation exists proving she served as a VIP companion for wealthy members, and she believes Candace has access to it or has reviewed it, why on earth would she openly align with Soho House again and highlight that link? 2 explanations come to mind. Either the documents aren't real and she's unconcerned, or she's actively shaping the narrative. By teaming up with them publicly and presenting it as a fond, nostalgic tie, she's preempting any negative revelations about her actual relationship with the club. That's standard public relations maneuvering. When trouble might emerge, you put out your own positive spin first, so you can later claim the issue was already covered. Royal observer Kinsey Schofield reported that insiders told her Meghan picked Soho House for this collaboration on purpose. It's a controlled, invite-only setting where she can manage sales numbers and how the public sees things. and you always knew you wanted to return to LA, that Canada was just a temporary stop. Right from the start, this woman planned her exit from royal duties because Hollywood stardom has been her lifelong goal. She lacked the raw talent to break through as a major Hollywood player. She ended up stuck in minor roles on a show like Suits that barely registered in the US, yet Prince Harry somehow sees it differently. That kind of move screams concern about potential exposure. It's someone attempting to rewrite the history of a connection before the unfiltered version surfaces. Let me lay out what sources say these files supposedly hold, not claiming it's confirmed, just passing along what's being discussed in circles following Candace's reported discoveries. The membership logs apparently indicate Meghan was never officially enrolled as a paying Soho House member. She consistently appeared as a guest, always tagging along with actual members, never covering her own dues, which tracks because those fees are steep and the club is ultra-selective. Yet the logs allegedly show she enjoyed widespread access anyway, showing up regularly at various locations worldwide: Toronto, London, New York. How does a non-member pull off that kind of consistent entry? Through special arrangements with the global membership director, who also happens to be her longtime close friend. The brand draws inspiration from Soho House, as stated. Am I off base here? I recall hearing Soho House was facing financial trouble or possibly heading toward collapse. Maybe it was only the London location, but reports suggested things weren't strong. Perhaps the issues weren't universal. I'm not certain. But from what I last heard, the outlook wasn't great for them. The files supposedly specify which members she interacted with: identities of prosperous entrepreneurs, studio executives, investment figures, plus events she joined them at: meals, celebrations, secluded gatherings, always positioned as the companion rather than the main member. And the detail sources highlight is language in the records calling her valuable to the member experience, phrasing that implies she was intentionally placed there to improve the social atmosphere for top-tier members. That's straight professional companion wording. You can spin stories on Netflix. You can share versions on Oprah. You can feed narratives to the media and the public. But are you willing to repeat them under oath in court? Meghan and Harry are about to face serious questioning under oath. That's particularly noteworthy because this is one of those uncommon moments where they genuinely crave privacy, yet the legal system is refusing to allow it. So perhaps their next step becomes clearer now. If Candace has reviewed files containing that sort of wording, linking Meghan to 89 separate member names, complete with comments on her usefulness to the member experience, that's catastrophic. It establishes the interactions as transactional, not the innocent, friendly encounters Meghan has always described. Here's what convinces me there's substance behind this. Meghan's side has remained utterly mute since these accusations emerged. Not a single rebuttal, no attorney comment, no warning of lawsuits. If she truly believes she's been wronged, there's no clear reason she wouldn't engage fully with any investigation, especially something high profile like testifying before Congress, where global attention would be locked on. And if she's as blameless as claimed, wouldn't that be the ideal platform? Why avoid it? This is the same person who pursued legal action against the Mail on Sunday over a private letter to her father. She turns to the courts when she thinks victory is possible. She challenges inaccurate stories aggressively, yet on Candace's Soho House file claims nothing, total silence. Why? Because denying it outright invites Candace to produce the evidence, catching her in a falsehood. Staying quiet and letting the story fade seems safer. Look at Meghan's track record. False accusations. She battles them head on. When something hits too close or can't be disproven, she goes quiet and lets her publicity machine handle things discreetly. This level of silence speaks volumes. It suggests she fears something uncontrollable might surface. So now the supposed matchmaker for those two is making headlines again. I thought the matchmaker, or perhaps something closer to a facilitator, was Marcus Anderson. Interesting that reports now ask if the pair has moved past their original connector. Harry's old friend Violet von Westenworth has commented on it. Let's consider the fallout for Meghan if these files become public. Her whole public identity implodes in an instant. The advocate for realness and strength turns into someone who leveraged exclusive arrangements to ascend social ranks. Netflix cuts ties, as ever becomes laughable. Business deals dry up because brands won't touch someone whose rise is tied to providing companionship in elite settings. Beyond the commercial damage, the contradiction is brutal. Meghan has built her image around feminism, championing women's strength, portraying success as the result of grit and smarts. If records confirm she was positioned as a VIP companion for 89 affluent men, that entire story unravels. She ends up matching exactly what her critics have claimed all along, a person who traded appearance and charisma for entry to power, then recast it as an uplifting tale. Part of me thinks Meghan would actually prefer being at the center of it all. She thrives on being number one. She doesn't merely diminish Prince Harry. She undermines his whole lineage, his family's history, everything he comes from. And she appears to have done it with real enthusiasm. What does something like this do to Harry? He first encountered Meghan through the very Soho House system these files supposedly detail. Marcus orchestrated their introduction in the same manner he allegedly set up Meghan's links to those 89 other prominent men. Harry becomes simply one more entry on that list, one more influential, wealthy figure who gained access to her via Soho House coordination, not some destined love story. Just a connection that happened to stick. You have to wonder why Candace is pursuing Meghan so relentlessly. What's driving her to supposedly acquire these files and make the claims public? Some of it stems from a sincere conviction that Meghan schemed her way into the royal family. Candace views her as insincere, strategic, someone who exploits others. She's repeated those views for years, even when he shared the story of how she threatened suicide during pregnancy, saying she was having those thoughts. You see it in all her actions. She keeps applying that pressure on him, reminding him what happened to his mom, implying the same could happen to her unless he follows exactly what she wants. There's also a career angle. Candace has grown her platform by highlighting hypocrisy in prominent figures. Meghan fits that mold perfectly. Well-known, divisive, constantly in the spotlight. Uncovering Meghan's concealed history brings Candace huge visibility. And if she truly holds paperwork backing her statements, that's groundbreaking reporting. The sort of revelation that cements your reputation as a serious investigator. So where does all this lead? If Candace actually possesses Soho House membership records documenting Meghan as a VP companion linked to 89 men, when will she make them fully public? I'd guess she's holding for the perfect timing, maximum damage, perhaps tied to a major Meghan launch or another Harry media appearance. Explosive material thrives on strategic release. Or perhaps she's already shared sufficient pieces that anyone seeking truth can piece it together. Sometimes you don't need the full dump, just enough to make denial impossible. What I can say for sure is that Meghan sits in a precarious spot at the moment. If the files are real and contain what's alleged, her meticulously built persona is one disclosure away from complete collapse. My closing point: in today's connected world, hidden truths rarely stay hidden forever. Records exist somewhere, conversations happen, leaks occur. When someone is determined, as Candace Owens sets out to reveal something, the details eventually emerge. If Meghan truly operated as a VIP companion through Soho House setups, if 89 wealthy men were documented as connected to her that way, the facts will come to light sooner or later. Not necessarily immediately, not this week, but eventually, because too many individuals are aware. Marcus knows, the men listed know. Club employees who handled the arrangements know. In an era of smartphones and instant captures, someone always ends up speaking. Meghan can keep collaborating with Soho House and posting sentimental Instagram lines as much as she likes. She can ignore Candace's accusations and pray they blow over. But if the files are authentic, staying silent won't protect her. Right now, Candace Owens is either holding the single most devastating revelation in recent royal times, or she's put forward accusations without solid backing. Time will show which is true, but Meghan's refusal to respond hints she's deeply afraid it's the former. The woman who once aimed to become a princess could ultimately be defined as someone who navigated elite arrangements to gain proximity to wealthy men. And Candace Owens might turn out to be the person who finally brings the proof forward.